How are you today? Can you please let me know if you can hear me and see me okay? If somebody could please let me know if you can hear me and see me. Get some little adjustments here on my desk. We're starting a little bit early so that we can do a sound check and a video check. On my end, it looks like everything's okay, but can somebody please type into the text box if you can hear me okay? Lisa, can you hear me? Linda, can you hear me? Sharon, can you hear me? Okay, voice sounds good. Voice is muffled. Okay, let's see if we can do something a little. Is that a little better? Just kind of moved it on my desk a little bit. Is that any better? Okay, excellent. Thank you for that feedback. That's always helpful. We can never tell on our end how it sounds. We can only see that it's a go, and it looks like it's a go. So, excellent. Thank you for that feedback. Okay, well, welcome everyone. I'm going to go ahead and get started. We do have quite a few people on the line, and more people are joining us each second. So, the purpose of today is to talk about how to create duplication on your nutraMetrix teams. And I will tell you, and you've probably heard me say it from stage before in the past, I have been the queen of what I call reverse duplication, right? And what does that mean? Because this is what I want to help you avoid. What it meant was I was so good at what I was doing that many of my team members didn't feel like they could do the same thing. So what ended up happening is they would see me do it and think to themselves, I can't do that, right? And then when they needed help, they would call me and say, Brandi, can you help me with this? And then they would ask me to do it for them. And in the beginning, before I knew what I was doing, I would say, sure, I'll do it for you because I love doing what I do. I love doing what we do, right? So I'd go out with them and I would do all the talking on their appointments. And then guess what would happen? They would bring on new team members. Those new team members would go out on appointments with us. They would see what I would do, right? And they would say, well, I can't do that. Now, this is the second level, right? Our new team member, our C-level person. And they would say, well, I can't do that. And they would get another appointment and they would call me and say, can you come help me? So then they would bring on new people. And what ended up duplicating without me even realizing it through my organization is when you feel like you can't do something, call Brandi and she'll do it for you, right? And that's definitely not the goal of our business because that was not helping me create time freedom for myself. I was growing a team, the team was growing quickly, but in order for anybody to get anything done, they called me and I would be the one doing it for them. That is not what you want to do, guys. You want to create leaders on your team. You want to create people that are comfortable. Maybe they might not even be comfortable in the beginning. They might be uncomfortable, but sometimes our best growth comes from growing out of our comfort zone, right? Where we are uncomfortable and we have to take steps to make that uncomfortable action happen so frequently that it becomes second nature, that it becomes comfortable to us, okay? So you don't want to be the one doing everything for your team. You don't want to be the one that's leading by action every time and not causing your leaders to step up and take action as well. So instead, what I had to learn to do to get out of the situation of being the queen of reverse duplication, where everybody was calling me to help them with their appointments, everybody was calling me to help them answer questions via email, everybody was calling me to handle their three-way phone calls, everybody was calling me to help get things done. What I had to start doing was say to them, okay, guys, now it's your turn. And I'll be there to help support you, but you have to be the one taking action, right? So you have to find a way to create a system of duplication on your team. And if you don't create a system of duplication on your team, you are limiting yourself and you'll be limiting the rate of your growth. So what you have to be able to do, and maybe it's helpful for you to do this with your new people in a coring type setting, is start doing role plays with people. Start having them walk through the discovery meeting with you, pretending to be the health professional, so that they get comfortable being in the discovery meeting questionnaire, the questioner, the interviewer role, and then help them walk through each step of the process. The system has been so streamlined now that as long as anybody can follow the Getting Started Guide, the Practice Planning Guide, and the HP Implementation Guide, they know what to do. In the past, when I was creating the role of Reverse Duplication Queen, we didn't have the tools that we have now. Nobody had it outlined the way that it is now. So because people didn't know what to do, they would come follow me on my appointments and then try to duplicate what I did. And if they didn't think that they could do that, they wouldn't take any action unless I helped them. So we created these new tools, the practice planning guide, the NC getting started guide, and the HP implementation guide to help alleviate that problem. The question is, are you using those tools? And how are you using them with your team? Are you taking your team members with you and having them watch you during the initial phases of implementation, but are you giving them assignments where they have to be the ones talking to the health professionals, they have to be the ones talking to the staff members, they have to be the ones taking action? Because if you're not giving them some of that responsibility, you're setting them up for failure. And you're setting yourself up to be a queen or king of reverse duplication instead of somebody that has a solid team that is duplicating and able to operate on their own merit, right? So how do we do this? Well, it all comes down to what we learned in the basic 5 about the ABC pattern, right? The ABC pattern from Market America applies to nutraMetrix as well. So let's walk through a simple scenario. Let's say you're going out and you are an experienced NC and you already have an account. You've already been through the process of a discovery meeting, a proposal meeting, an implementation planning meeting, and you already have a practice in place. Bring one of your new NCs with you and give them a tour of the practice. Let them see what that implementation looks like in that practice. Let them see it before you go out and take them on one of their first appointments. By you taking them in and doing a tour of your existing implementation, you help them see the big picture of what it actually looks like in real life, not just on paper, but in real life in a physical practice, okay? And then when it's time for them to go out and work with one of their contacts to do a discovery meeting, right, you go with them and you team teach it together. So you could ask some of the questions, they could ask some of the questions, but you're getting them involved in the process and you are there to be able to help guide them along the way, but you're not doing everything for them. And I see Jane just typed a message saying the volume is a little low. Is anybody else having low or muffled volume, or can anybody actually hear me? Just look at this here. Try to adjust the microphone volume a second. Low volume. I'm hearing low volume. Okay, I'm seeing on my end, it looks like it's high. It's showing me the green bar. Okay, something happened where all of a sudden it's better. Okay, I didn't do anything, so that's kind of interesting. Okay, good. So I'm glad you guys are hearing me better. Okay, so let's go back to what we were talking about. Whatever I did fixed it. I just opened up the microphone box and that seemed to fix it. Okay, question. Somebody's asking. Okay, much better. Excellent. Well, I'm glad you guys can hear me better now. So anyways, what I was saying is once you have a new NC and you're going out with that new NC for this first discovery meeting, don't let them just sit back and watch you the whole time. You have to get them comfortable talking to health professionals. You have to get them comfortable talking and asking questions. And you can do that from the very first visit. You can even do that before they've been trained as an NC. So let's say, for example, you're an experienced NC and you have a brand new partner on your team and you know that they're excited about nutraMetrix and their goal is to eventually go to a nutraMetrix training and build with nutraMetrix, right? You don't have to wait till they've been to NC training to take them out on an appointment with you. You can take them out on an appointment with you and let them observe and sit with them before the meeting and give them a couple of questions that they can address or they can ask the health professional or the staff member that you're meeting with, because your goal is you want to get them feeling comfortable talking to the health professional or talking to their staff right from the beginning, right? It's scary for new people that have never been in professional sales environment before to go out and now all of a sudden talk in a consulting role to a doctor or a staff member. But if we prep them along the way by giving them specific questions that they're going to ask, and all they have to do, they don't even have to memorize it, all they have to do is read it off of the practice planning guide discovery meeting script, then that gives them a little bit of chance to build up their confidence that they feel comfortable. Hey, you know what? I can do this. I don't have to remember everything. I don't have to know it all off the top of my head. I can just read it off of the script. Right? And then if you slowly give them more and more, maybe over the second appointment, the third appointment, you give them more and more control of the conversation, but you are there to help back them up. That's building their confidence up so that they say, you know what, I can do this. It doesn't have to be me relying on you to do this. I don't need you to do this for me. And the next thing that you know will happen is they'll be out doing their own meetings and they'll be bringing their new team members with them because they'll do with their new team members what you did with them. That's how duplication happens, right? Whatever you do with them, good or bad, they're going to duplicate with their new team members. So you want to make sure from the beginning you are showing them that this is a team effort, that you're both able to communicate with the health professional. You're following the script. Nobody needs to remember everything off the top of their head, but you're following the script that's outlined in the practice planning guide, and anybody can do that, right? And then when you get home after the meeting, or in the car driving back to your wherever you guys are going after your meeting, before the next appointment, before you guys go out and have lunch, before you go out and have a celebratory dinner because the practice that the meeting went so well, what before you go do anything else, sit with them and talk with them about what they did great and what could be done better, and they should be able to give that same feedback to you as well. That's all part of the learning process. You see, so many times I run into people that are afraid to take somebody new out with them because they don't want them to, quote, mess it up, right? Sometimes we need to let go and go with the flow and let things happen the way that they're going to naturally roll out so that we can risk a little bit of fumbles, right? Everybody fumbles. We're all human. Everybody fumbles, but that's how we learn. So you don't want to protect your team so much because they're scared to you say, I'm going to do it myself or I'll do it for you, because then that's going to be what duplicates, is that you have to be the one that does it, not that they're doing it. Okay. So we have quite a few people that are on the line. And some of you I know have built great teams, like Jane, for example. You've done a fantastic job of helping to grow teams of NCs. Do you have any questions about or comments that you want to share? Everybody can see the text chat there. Any questions or comments that you want to be able to share with the audience about how you create duplication, or mistakes that you want people to avoid in creating duplication? I think the biggest one is trying to do everything for them because you want to make sure it's done perfectly. That's the biggest thing that we need to get over. We need to get over the fact that it's not going to go perfect, and that is okay. But the part of the process that's so important is that people feel like they can do it. And if they're following the script, which those are new, those new scripts in the practice planning guide, they've only been out for 3 or 4 months now, maybe, well, since November, right? So about 4 months that they've been out. If you're following those scripts, it takes all the pressure off to feel like people are going to make a mistake, right? There's no way you can make a mistake. You can't miss something if you're going through the script. So my 2 keys for creating duplication on your team are: number 1, use the tools and let the tools show you exactly what to do. And anybody can do that, so anybody can duplicate that. And number 2, make sure that you give your people the experiences they need to feel comfortable doing it themselves. Don't think it has to be perfect, so you have to be the one that does it. And because you have to be the one that does it and you're kind of micromanaging your team ends up not growing, right? What you need to do in place of that is empower them. Let them get practice, even if it's a little uncomfortable in the beginning, even if it's a little bumpy. Let them get practice role playing with you, and then going out on appointments with you where they ask a couple of the questions and they provide some answers based on their training once they've been trained. And by giving them more and more responsibility on each meeting, that's how you're going to create duplication. And then whatever process you put in place will duplicate with them with their new team members. The problem is too many people don't put a system for duplication in place. They just want to go out. They're nervous about the meeting themselves. They just want to go out and make sure that the meeting goes smoothly. So they do it themselves. They have somebody there watching, but they don't involve the person that's watching in the process. Well, then that's what duplicates. And then the next time that that person goes out and takes somebody with them, they have that person just watch. And then just by watching, that person doesn't learn how to do it, right? It does help. Being able to see it in action does help. But the best way for us to learn is by doing. And even if that's by doing just a small piece of the meeting, asking a few questions. In the first meeting that they go to, maybe they only ask 2 or 3 of the questions. In the next meeting, maybe they asked half of the questions. By the time you get to the 3rd meeting, let them be in charge and they run the meeting, answering or asking most of the questions, and you just chime in if they need help, right? That's where the duplication comes from. Now, let's talk about duplicating not just with the NCs on your team, but also the staff members on the team, right? Role playing with the staff can also help create duplication with the staff. You see, in the beginning, when you're talking to these practices, many of the staff members, they probably have not talked to patients about wellness options before. Now, some of them may have. Maybe you're implementing in a naturopath's office and they've been implementing nutraceuticals in the practice for 12 years or 15 years. Then it's going to be pretty easy to get them to duplicate. All you have to do is train them on our system, and they're already comfortable talking to patients about this. But if you're talking to a practice that's never implemented wellness models in their practice before, they've never offered supplements, they've never had to ask questions about how to order or where the follow-up comes into play, they've never had to deal with that, then role play with them, pretend you're a patient, ask them questions that patients may ask, and help them come up with answers and duplicate that with them. And then whoever your key staff member is that you're working with will duplicate that with new staff members as they get trained. You see, people duplicate what we do, not what we tell them to do. They duplicate what we actually do. So you want to make sure you're using the tools and you're helping your people feel comfortable by getting them involved in the implementation process or the discovery meeting questionnaire process. And the scripts in that tools will help you feel more comfortable. The place where there's not a lot of scripting is once you get to the implementation meeting, it's so variable as to how implementation is going to go into play that we can't give you a specific script for how to create implementation. We can't give you a specific script for doing the staff 1, 2, 3 presentation. Although we give you the slides, it needs to be customized to that individual practice and what they're offering. So the discovery meeting is pretty standard. You ask the same questions all the time. Creating the proposal is pretty standard. What products you include may vary from practice to practice, but the process is the same wherever you go. Conducting the proposal meeting is standard. We gave you a script for that. You can just follow the script. And then conducting the implementation meeting is standard. We give you a script for that. By the time you've gone through those 3 meetings, you should have a pretty strong rapport developed with the staff, where at that point you know what they're looking for, they know what you're there to provide, and that's when now you have to try to do things on your own a little bit. But help your existing NCs learn how to do that by having them watch you first, participate while watching with you, and then they can lead it on their own. Okay, those are my tips for creating duplication on your team. Any questions or additional comments that anybody wants to type in the text chat box? I'll give you a minute. I know there's a bit of a delay there, but if you have anything that you'd want to share with the group, we can talk about that. If you have any questions that you want me to go into more detail about, we can talk about that. But let me give you a second to answer any questions. And if not, then I will sign off for the day. And I hope everybody has their tickets to an upcoming training. Okay, those with the names list to begin with work better. Okay, Jane writes, those with the names list to begin with work better for duplication. Those that didn't have a list to begin with have a harder time. And the reason why they have a harder time is because they don't even know where to start, right? So then you have to help them work through and think about who did they know that they could get appointments with. And who do they know that could lead them to appointments? Maybe they know an accountant who has health professionals as clients. Maybe they know an attorney that has health professionals as clients. Helping them work through their names list to find out who do they know that could lead them to health professionals. Because some of them might be thinking, I don't know any health professionals. And maybe they don't. But I guarantee you they know somebody who knows a health professional that could lead them to helping get an appointment. Who do they know that goes to a chiropractor that they love? Who do they know that goes to get regular massages? Who do they know that goes to acupuncture? Could that person help create a warm contact for them to get a new appointment? So that's where that duplication starts. Great point, Jane. Thank you for pointing that out. No other questions have come in. I thank you guys for joining me for these past 20 minutes on our Meet On Lunch and Learn for today. I hope you guys are having a great day. Jane asked, do you go to their list for making the appointments? Oh, absolutely. I go with them for helping them make the appointment. I mean, one of the challenging things for me when I got started with my business is my senior business partner told me to create a names list and to call and try to book appointments. I didn't know what that meant. I didn't know how to do that. What do you mean? I just call them and try to talk to them about the business. And then what ended up happening is I would start going into too much detail and trying to explain the whole thing in the first 2 to 3 minutes instead of getting the appointments. So I would sit with them instead. Like don't duplicate how I was taught how to book appointments, which was to not teach them. My senior business partner just said, let's make a list and then you call them and try to get appointments with them. And I really did a horrible job with that in the beginning, right? So what we need to do is we need to show them, what does it mean to make the list? And then how do we go about approaching that list? And we want to role play with them before they even get on the phone. What do you want to say? Maybe create a script for them of what they say to book the appointment, right? How do they talk to their warm contact? And Lexi and Sarah have been doing some great meet-ons. And so make sure you go back and watch the other meet-ons that Lexi and Sarah did about getting how to book appointments and how to schedule an appointment with someone. You want to do those same types of appointments with your warm contacts. So let's say you have a friend whose sister-in-law is a chiropractor. Well, first, before your friend is going to automatically give you the phone number and the warm contact of their sister-in-law that's the chiropractor, you need to give them some information about why would they want to connect the two of you. So that's where you're going to want to share your vision and your mission and why you're so passionate about helping to change the health of our country and how you think you might have something that chiropractor may be interested in, right? So by talking to them about that, sharing your mission and your vision with your warm contacts and your team members' warm contacts, right? It's all about, it's not just going for the appointment, it's sharing the why, which is what we lead the entire NC training with. We need to understand what our why is, what is our vision, what is our mission, and why do we need to know that before we even pick up the phone, right? Because then our new people who haven't gotten started yet, who don't think that they have a warm contact list, we need to help them identify, well, you really do know people who can help lead you to health professionals. And by sharing your vision and mission with them, they're going to help you get contacts with those health professionals. And then you follow the exact system that we have in place for you. You book the appointment with the health professional staff or the health, through the staff to get to the health professional. Then you go in and you do the proposal meeting, not the proposal meeting, the discovery meeting. Then you follow that by creating a proposal, doing the proposal meeting. Then you put together an implementation plan and you just go step by step through that process. So remember, use the tools, getting started guide, practice planning guide, HP implementation guide. Keep in mind and ask yourself the question, what am I duplicating right now? Am I helping my new team know how to do it the right way? Am I helping them feel comfortable by role playing with them first and then involving them in the process? And then are they going to duplicate in the same way with their team? Okay, that's it for today, guys. Hope you had a great, I hope this was helpful to you. I hope you guys have a great rest of the day. And I look forward to seeing you in future live meets. Thank you. Have a great day.